All glories to Mother Ratasha, all glories to the religion of love, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to our Supreme Lord. O Lord God, please help us live out these teachings to be an example of love in the world. Jai. Continuing from the book, The Religion of Love. Then from the side where the women sat, a shy voice softly said, "And of equality?" But before she could finish, a man's voice did command her to keep quiet. "Why to keep quiet?" another woman asked. "Have we no mind that we must sit silent? Have we no soul that we might not be enlightened? For thousands of years, women have been denied power by men. Even in the house of God are we caged and cut out. I too follow this new doctrine, and know this has she publicly condemned, saying, By whose authority are only half the believers welcome in the house of God, when God himself welcomes all? And she too welcomes all, for she sees as God sees, as we are all meant to see. I have heard her say, and know it to be true. I see neither Hindu, Muslim, Christian, nor Jew. I see only the eternal spiritual soul. I see neither European, nor Arabian, American, nor African, only the eternal spiritual soul. I see neither black nor white, rich nor poor, man nor woman, friend nor enemy. I see only the eternal spiritual soul, the beloved lover of God. And there was a woman, great in beauty, with jewels in her ears and gold upon her wrists, who asked of love. I have searched, she said, for love everlasting, and find it not, and now know only the days of desolation, the nights alone, so that I am sick at heart, and seek a cure. And she answered the woman, What is called love is often not love at all, but a business arrangement, a bargain at best, that says, I will love you as long as you please me. When you no longer please me, I divorce you. Or, I will be your friend as long as you do what I want. But when you no longer do what I want, the friendship is finished. The friend has become the enemy. In this way has the world become broken-hearted. For love is not of the world, but of the Spirit. And you who seek outside yourselves for love, look in the wrong place. For already are you love. Look instead for places where you may give love. For love is not love until it is given. And in giving, know the things of the world are limited and temporary, and bind one to suffering. Give then that which is unlimited and eternal, and frees one from suffering. Give God. Anything less is not love. Okay. And I have a lot of notes from Mother Ratasha that I'd like to share in this commentary. So a woman asks about equality, and it just so happens in the crowd a guy commands the woman to be quiet. And she rightly asks, have we no mind that we must sit silent? No soul, we can't get enlightened? For thousands of years, women have been denied power by men. Even in the house of God are we caged and cut out. Yes. I visited a number of places of worship where there literally was a cage separating men and women. Literally. Sometimes that cage is actually kind of smaller than the larger area where the men are. God did not do this. God did not cage and cut out women against men when it comes to worshiping Him, worshiping God. When it comes to spiritual life and advancing in spiritual life, Mother Tasha taught, if you can do the job, you can have the job. A leader doesn't have to be a certain sex, color, race, designation, etc. God is an equal opportunity employer. To create divisions and separations by bodily designations is one of the grossest degradations of animal ignorant consciousness. Separated faiths is materialism at its worst. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught to men and women sitting together. You see, the spiritual master doesn't see men or women, but the soul, and teaches to everyone. Mary Magdalene was actually Mary of Magdala, a place, and she was a disciple of Jesus, was never a prostitute. So these types of separations, these divisions, sexism, bigotry, these are man's own ignorance, not what God has given, although they've been rather institutionalized throughout many religious organizations, set in stone in many cultures, but that is all man's doing. That is not God's eternal truth. And Mother Atasha gave a little information about the different sexes, men and women. Now remember, we're not these bodies. We are the spirit soul within the body. But the bodies do have an effect on our consciousness. They do affect our mind. Such as a spirit soul inside of the body of a dog, their mind is going to be dog mind. So they're not going to be able to understand higher philosophy, obviously. Just eat, sleep, mate, defend. Woof, woof. So when we are in a man body or a woman body, the body does influence our mind. And she said, men are strong in certain ways, and women strong in others. They are very complementary, and together they can do very well. And to understand more of how the differences of the body influencing the mind, she taught, women, if they have a problem, will talk, and in their talking, will find the solution to their problem. Men, if they have a problem, hold it in and stay quiet, contemplate, until they find the solution. But don't forget, you are spiritual soul. Act who you are. So I'm reading here. She says, by whose authority are only half the believers welcome in the house of God when God himself welcomes all? Yeah, by whose authority? Who made this division? Again, it wasn't God. It was men, and worldly consciousness. You won't find teachings in the scriptures that say we must ostracize and put down, oppress any groups of people. Rather, we're all meant to see as God sees and be welcoming, loving to all, as God is welcoming and loving to all. Yeah, only half the believers welcome in the house of God. That is nonsense. And Mother Natasha and the devotees experience in a lot of places where they went to visit, to pay homage, to pray, they weren't welcomed because some of them, women mixed with men, or maybe some came from Hindu families or Muslim backgrounds, etc. And they said, oh, only a certain people can enter here. Again, as she said, this is ignorance and animalistic consciousness at its worst. Because unless we purify our consciousness of the debased, ignorant qualities of the mind by the influence of all this contaminating material nature, then we are operating on animal consciousness, not much different than the dog. In fact, it said in the scriptures, in this day and age, the majority of the population are two-legged animals. Eat, sleep, mate, defend. Not much beyond that. They may make a big fuss about it, put a bunch of importance on it, be a little bougie about it, but it's still just not different. They're just trying to seek worldly pleasures, sense gratification of the body, which, can be found amongst a society of hogs and dogs. Not much different. What separates the human form of life is the opportunity, the rare gift the spirit soul has in this particular human form to take advantage of a lifetime in which you can come to realize thy true self, be liberated from the bondage of material existence, and come again to love and return to God now and forever. This is the opportunity of the human form of life that should not be wasted. Everybody's wasting the opportunity. They don't know that they've got the greatest gift in this human form. That's why we try to share the knowledge. So, Mother Natasha says, and actually he says here, she too welcomes all, for she sees as God sees, as we are all meant to see. I've heard her say, and I know it to be true, I see neither Hindu, Muslim, Christian, nor Jew. I see only the eternal spiritual soul. These religious names and affiliations, these are also bodily designations. They're related to the body. In the spiritual world, the eternal abode of God, the people are not labeled or divided amongst each other by faith, by religion. That doesn't exist. No, this is a worldly thing. In fact, these labels, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jew, Buddhist, Jainist, these are all labels that man has created. Whereas every time God reveals his message unto the world and brings forth another scripture, it's always the religion of love. That's what God is always sharing, the religion of love. Muhammad taught the religion of love. Jesus taught the religion of love. But men, worldly consciousness, they make it a something else. They make it into a thing, a label, something they possess, something they identify with. They identify with this diaspora of dogma instead of thy true self, not the body, but spirit soul. I see neither European, nor Arabian, American, nor African, only the eternal spiritual soul. So, nationality, where you're born, again, just related to the body. It's not who you are. Before you were born, were you American? Were you Australian? Were you this, that? No. Upon birth, you got this designation on your birth certificate. And on death, you're going to take your passport with you? Always going to be of this nation? No. This is, again, temporary bodily designation. I see neither black nor white. Oh, people make a big fuss about the amount of, what is it? Melatonin? What's the name of the pigment in the skin? Melanin? I don't know. They make a big fuss about the color of the skin. Again, gross ignorance. Rich nor poor. Doesn't matter how much accumulation of material possessions you have, you're still an eternal spirit soul. Man nor woman. And we covered that. Friend nor enemy. Who is a friend? Who is an enemy? Again, these are all related on the bodily plane, on who gives me pleasure and who gives me pain. Someone who pleases me, they're my friend. Someone who disturbs me, they're my enemy. Again, disturbing me or disturbing my senses, my mind, my body. On the eternal plane of existence, in the eyes of God, in the eyes of any realized soul. Said, oh, that's outside. Okay. Thought something was going on in the kitchen. We're all brothers and sisters, servants of the one God. There is no friend nor enemy. Again, this is worldly consciousness, to see one separate like this. We are all the eternal spirit soul, the beloved lovers of God. And some notes from Mother Atasha, she taught, every soul in their eternal position is a devotee. We don't experience it because we're covered over by the material. So in a sense, we are eternally devotees, but at present, we are training to be again devotees. And we do this because our reality, our true nature, is this. So act as if you are a holy man. See other persons as soul. If you can't remember yourself as soul, if even that is difficult, act as if you are a holy man. As it says in the book, one who acts as a saint before he is a saint becomes a saint. Kind of akin to the saying, fake it till you make it. Well, more like act in the knowledge until you realize that knowledge. Be a better spiritual life analogy for that. So continuing on. And there was a woman great in beauty, with jewels in her ears and gold upon her wrists, who asked of love. I have searched for love everlasting, and find it not, and now know only the days of desolation, the nights alone, so that I'm sick at heart and seek a cure. And the Master answers the woman, what is called love is often not love at all. See, not just often, I'd say just about 99% of the time, if not all, what we call love. What is it but a business arrangement? A bargain at best, right? It's a bargain. It's an exchange. I will love you as long as you please me. When you no longer please me, I divorce you. That's the bargain. That's the agreement. You know, we do what we want. You please me, I please you. Scratch my back, I scratch yours. But when you stop scratching that itch I have and the way I don't like anymore, then be gone. So this isn't love. This is selfish lust. And same with friendship. Long as you do what I want, we're friends. But as soon as you stop doing what I want, the friendship is finished. Friend becomes the enemy, right? This way the world has become broken-hearted. Just like this woman asking. But love Real love is a verb. And as Mother Atasha taught, it's something that you do. Just because your fathers have said, I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, well, to be born in a so-called religion doesn't make you so. You have to do something. The word Islam is a verb, to do the will of God. A devotee is loving and gives this to others. The cleaner you are, she means to say, the more clear your consciousness is of ignorance, the closer you, the spirit soul, is to the surface. And people see it, though don't always realize it. In this world, we love another because on some level we're getting something, or at least expecting something. As material things are limited and temporary, we're going to be at one point disappointed, angry, fed up, upset. So love what is inside you. There is the love. From the spiritual state of love, we can love those who don't love us. That's where it says here in the book, love is not of the world, but of the Spirit. And you who seek outside yourselves for love, look in the wrong place, for already are you love. So in this world, there are two principal energies of God, material and spiritual energy. The material energy, you see it with your eyes, you feel it with your body. Everything made of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. All these elements. But all these elements, all of this matter, all this creation, can't exist or create or even change form if not for the presence of spirit. It is the spirit soul within the body that makes it grow and change and transform and experience things of the senses and think of the mind. It is the presence of the Supreme Lord who gives energy and activity to all the cosmos and the universe. But the material energy, of which we are so enamored by, of which we identify with, of which we seek, we make our goals to acquire things of the world, separate from our relationship and service with God. That is not of love. Everything of this world, everything matter, is constantly in flux, is constantly changing, and the results we get are limited and temporary. There is some pleasure in the material, but it is limited and temporary, and so is not pleasurable. Like a drop of water in the desert, it is not satisfying, but it's still very alluring. Pleasure on material platform will break our hearts. And she teaches, we love not because, but for we are love. Love is not an emotion. Emotions come and go. But love is our state of being, is constant. This is why she says, you who seek outside yourselves for love, look in the wrong place, for already are you love. You, the real you, is of the spiritual energy, which is of love. To speak of love is to speak of God, and the spirit soul is of the nature of God. of the eternal, ecstatic, spiritual, full of bliss, full of knowledge and eternal. We'll find true happiness, true bliss, true satisfaction within ourselves, in our hearts, when we are again in that state of being. Love is a state of being, and the material creation, the ignorance, the illusion, the covering of this mind, all of that has kept us from experiencing our true state of love. Religion, this process and practices by which we come again to God, is the clearing away of everything that's blocking our experience of our true state of being. It is the giving up of all things not of love, basically. To only love remains, to only you remain. And the great saints and sages and messengers of God, were they not love incarnate? Their mercy, their compassion, their wisdom, their gravity, their humility, they were love. And as are we, just unrealized. But we can be realized again. This is what the purpose of life is. And she says, so look instead, not where you can find love, but where you may give love. Give from your heart, but not from your emotions, but from the source of your true self. Give of God. Love is not love until it is given, and in giving, know the things of the world are limited and temporary, and bind one to suffering. Yes, we are bound. When you act and desire on the material plane for material results, you are bound to suffer the results of your actions. This is karma. So give then instead that which is unlimited and eternal, and actually frees one from suffering. Give God. Anything less is not love. And Mother Atasha taught, be friend to all. Know we are spiritual soul. Care out of love to save these drowning souls. That is what we relate to, and that is what our main concern is with. We have minimum concern with the body. We put all our effort into freeing the people of the world from illusion. And of course, ourselves. We give this love, this knowledge, these practices to free ourselves and to free others. This is real love. To free one from suffering. Free one from the illusion. Free them from the dreamlike existence that is our unnatural state of love unexperienced, unrealized. The real love is to be the well-wisher, and we're wishing to bring people again to God. Okay, Jai, stop there. Let me pause here real fast, start recording. Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments they'd like to share? well, all glories to Mother Atasha for that then. So no problem in seeing yourself as spirit soul and convincing yourself in the mind that you're not the mind or the body, and that everyone around you is not their mind or body or bodily designations either, and thus relate with one another on a spiritual manner. Clear to do?
Well, they're both two different things, aren't they?
What is?
The body and the soul.
Yes. No, we're
the body is just a carriage, you say.
yes. It says in the Bhagavad Gita, the spirit soul is seated as on a machine made of the material energy. So yeah, like a carriage, like a car. It is a machine of material energy. And so is the mind. Mind is one of the subtle energies of material nature. Mind, intelligence, and false ego, along with the 5 elements. They are material. But we often identify with the mind. We think that we are the thoughts in our head, but that's not our real consciousness. Not at all. But that's what we need to disassociate with, to be the observer of the mind, because we're not the mind. We're the spirit soul within the body. It goes without saying that devotees don't have the ignorant qualities of racism, xenophobia, bigotry. They don't have these awful, debased, ignorant qualities, because they see with equal vision everyone, whether a human or a dog or a tree, a fly. They love and respect all and don't want to cause any harm or suffering to anyone, and offer respects to everyone, because everyone and everything within the body is eternal spirit soul. It's a servant of God, just unrealized. So devotees in this knowledge, of course, are very loving, very peaceful. It's the best way to be, honestly. Of course, it's our natural way of being. Would solve all or so many problems in society, all the unnecessary suffering caused by others, if we acted not on the bodily conception of life, but in the true knowledge of our real selves as spirit soul. Boy, would that save the world a lot of heartache. Save us a lot of heartache. Meet, glad you're able to join us.
Yeah, the class makes sense. It's easy to hear, hard to do.
Yes, it is. It's very easy to just sit back, listen, or read a book, and then, I like it, I enjoy it, but to practically apply it, and to also realize that knowledge, it takes some work and some real effort. That's the act as a saint before you're a saint, become you're a saint, teaching comes into play. You try your best.
Question, actually.
Oh yeah, sure.
None of the class went over a bit of the differences between men and women. There was one thing I saw online where a lot of women are closer to God. They have the divine energy going through them. Hence why they're more emotional, more vibrant when it comes to a lot of things. I was wondering if you think that's true, and also you can learn a lot from the opposite gender overall, especially if they're spiritually embodied. And I was wondering if you think that's true.
Well, we all have that spiritual energy running through us. And as Mother Atasha said, that when men and women are strong in different categories, and together they're quite complementary. What you mentioned, that women being more apt towards the spiritual, well, that is because another difference Mother Tasha taught, which I've shared before, is that men have greater sensibilities for contemplating and understanding philosophy and knowledge, whereas women are more apt to surrender to God. So, of the two, which both is important, to be able to comprehend, to understand, to apply, advanced spiritual knowledge, and to, in all humility, surrender in loving service to the Lord, of the two, the latter is more important. Because even if you don't have great understanding or great, depth of knowledge, if you are surrendered unto the Lord in love, and you at least follow in the footsteps of the Lord's servants, follow their instructions, practice, hear, chant, remember, follow, good habits and give up bad habits, etc., then you make much more progress than one who has all this eroded knowledge and, philosophy in his head, but in pride wishes not to be a servant, does not wish to surrender unto God or anyone or anything. So that is why women populate the pews and halls of places of worship much more than men, and are more active in religious functions because of that surrendering propensity of the female mind. So that's why. But both, of course, have 100% opportunity to become spiritually realized. Again, we're not the body. And I may be in a man body right now, for all I know, I was a woman in my past body, and a man before that, and a woman before that. It's said that we flip between different genders all the time through our millions and billions of lifetimes. So we've done it all. We're not the body. Oh my goodness. We're not man, we're not woman, we're not American or Australian or this or that. We're all just eternal spirit soul. And when you progress in spiritual life, keep chanting, and your consciousness, the mirror of your mind becomes cleared of illusion and ignorance more and more. As she said, the more your real self starts to come to the surface. And you become less and less influenced by the material modes of nature, by the bodily concept of life. You keep practicing. You have the knowledge in your head. Yes, easy to hear, difficult to realize and practice, but you just keep at it. You keep the knowledge in your heart, in your mind, and you try to realize it. You try to act out of that knowledge. And guaranteed, you stick with it on the path made straight. Be a humble servant of the servants of God, and you will purify all the lesser modes of nature. It says in the Bhagavad Gita, ignorance, passion, goodness, and you develop more of the qualities of goodness. Passion, ignorance, all these, impious activities and propensities get purified away till you become more good and gooder and the goodest. And then you go beyond the material mode of goodness to pure goodness, to the spiritual, to divine consciousness, and transcend beyond completely the bodily concept of life. Become again a devotee. A devotee of God is not man or woman, is not this or that, is not the body. A devotee of God, self-realized, liberated soul, knows that they are the eternal servant, the beloved lover, the servant of God, the spirit soul. They know they are spirit soul. And they act in that knowledge, not for their pleasure, but for the Lord's pleasure. Not to please the senses of this body, which they don't identify with no more, but act to please the senses of the Lord. It takes time, doesn't happen overnight, but you have to do the work. And you will get the results. It's called the science of self-realization. It is a science. But just like any good experiment, you're going to have to follow the steps of that experimental process in order to get the reaction you're looking for. You're going to have to walk the path made straight to get the experience of yourself enlightened that you seek. So, we need not worry about having realization of our true self as spirit, soul, beyond the body, right off the bat. What we need to do is just follow in the footsteps of the Lord's servants, do the practices, follow the process, and if you can, give up some habits that are detrimental to your progress, causing unnecessary suffering, intoxicating oneself, fooling around with the opposite sex without, marriage and whatnot. So all these types of habits which pollute our consciousness more, if we give up some of these bad habits, or all of them really, we'll make even greater progress in spiritual life. Our consciousness be even faster purified. So we do everything we can out of love to bring ourselves back to love. Anywho, hope that answers your question, brother.
That makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comment or question, anyone? Got about 17 minutes left. If anybody wants to share, ask, ponder. My wife, looking at your notes, you're good? For now, you're good? Okay. As soon as I stop the recording, you're going to raise your hand. Aaron finally woke up. Any questions, Aaron? Nope. You all good? Alright then. And no need to make it unnecessarily long of a recording then. All glories to Mother Vitasha. All glories to the religion of love. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to our Supreme Lord. Jai.